Hello everyone, welcome to SIUK Nigeria webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with University of Brighton. We have Simon with us from University of Brighton today. Over to you, Simon.
Lovely. Thank you very much, everyone, and hope you're well and staying safe. Very quick overview about the University of Brighton, then into the business courses that we're doing in January. And for anybody else that might be just interested in the University of Brighton and all its different courses, there'll be a little bit about that as well. So thank you very much for joining, and I'm hoping that you've got a clear connection and can hear me okay. So for those of you who don't know about the University of Brighton, this is what we look like. This is Brighton from afar. And just to introduce myself, I'm Simon Morley, and I'm the International Regional Manager Recruitment for the rest of the world region, which is pretty much everything apart from Asia. So it's a very small team, but we're very positive to be here. Just going to try and move my next screen along. There we go. A quick overview at Brighton. Supporting student success and where we'll live and other things like that. So for those of you who don't know Brighton at all, where we're situated on the south coast. We're less than an hour away from London by train, and also Gatwick Airport is only half an hour away by train. So we're very well connected to London and the southeast. So if you do join Brighton, it's actually a place where you can actually go around the rest of the UK very easily. Why do people choose Brighton itself? We're actually a top 10 UK student city in the QS Best Student Cities 2001. We are leading the way in arts, creative technology and the environment. It's an award-winning beach, in fact, actually. And what I really like about Brighton is it's a very cosmopolitan place with about 14% of the people in Brighton are actually students. So it's a very academic place as well. You may have seen from the previous slides showing where we are. We're actually 4 campuses, and one of them is in Eastbourne. It's apparently the sunniest place in the UK. Don't expect the heat that you get in other parts of the world, but for us it's a nice, thriving place. And that's for anybody who was considering doing certain courses, which I'll come into in a second. So again, a bit more about Brighton itself, because that's the main hub of where the 3 main campuses are. It's a friendly and open city. For any parents here that think about sending their children to Brighton, it's actually a very, very safe place. It's one of the liveliest. It's a really international hub. And it's a really diverse place in which to live and study. Doesn't matter which kind of how you view yourself, there's always something for everybody. I mentioned about it being a top 10 UK student city. I'll give you an even higher ranking here, which is actually Brighton scored in the top 20 globally in student mix, demonstrating how welcoming and well-equipped a location Brighton is for international students. I want to give you this idea that actually Brighton, if you do come and study with us, is going to be there to support you the entire way through, and that's one of my main themes. It's represented by over 150 different cities, but I particularly like how also the teaching excellence framework, that's one of the areas in which academic staff are kind of valued, demonstrates how the personalized learning and support, particularly with students from diverse backgrounds during pre-entry and first year, is really highlighted in their most recent survey. For those of you who may have been to Brighton, but for those of you who haven't as well, this is where we're situated in the 3 main campuses. I will be focusing more on the business courses, which are January entry a little bit later. But for those of you, to give you an idea of what things are, this is how we're situated. There's also a free bus during term time as well, which will take you, depending on where you are staying, to all the different campuses within Brighton itself. For those of you who want to get around a bit faster, there's also the train connection. But to give you an idea, it's not that far. It's quite easy to walk between all the different campuses. It's just would take a little bit longer. So a very quick overview of all the 4 campuses. The city campus, which I'm going to hit out, is just down here, and then onto the Morecambe campus, which is our main one, and then also Falmer up there, and Brighton and Bournemouth a little bit further over. It's the smallest campus. We're very technologically minded, and it's done particularly well. It was, in fact, actually 8th for art and design and top 40 globally in the QS rankings 2019, and that would be the global rankings. So it's a very strong department. Moulscombe, I'm going to come back to this one because it's going to be the main focus of our talk, because it's where the business block is. Over 7,500 students, world-leading research impact in computer science and information research. I'll give you some other ones in a moment. Our largest campus and brand new campus. In fact, actually, you can see down below, which I'm going to come back to in a second. New advanced engineering building, home to a world-class Centre for Engineering Excellence. So whichever course you'll think about doing, there's something for everybody here. Going to quickly go over this one, demonstrating our partnership with the sorry, I do apologise. Partnership with the British Brighton and Sussex Medical School. That's one of our partners with the University of Sussex, and actually you can see that we're actually #1 in the UK. They're demonstrating again the kind of good networks that we have with academic excellence. Eastbourne is the final one, which is very strong for sports and physiotherapy. So anybody who's considering doing those sorts of subjects, that would be over that area. And that's normally within the top 100 within the QS World Rankings. So I mentioned before that we've got a brand new campus, which you can possibly also see behind me if you can see my little piece, is here that we actually have really high class facilities in every area of what we're doing. And whether you're doing pharmacy, whether you're doing business, whether you're doing engineering, you'll have the greatest access to facilities that we can provide to provide you with the best kind of student support and experience. So here we go, investing in our students. The Moulscombe campus, which is the one I've been talking about, which is where the main focus of this talk is going to be, is the big build. It's a £300 million investment with new academic buildings, new sports facilities, new students' union, new student accommodation, new green spaces. Even despite this, we've also been investing over 1.8 million a year, modernising existing teaching and learning spaces. So it's a really demonstrates our investment in you. And actually, this is what it looks like now. It's going to be finished at the end of the year, and the Elm House School of Business and Law. So this is where we're going to be based if you're considering to do one of our business masters in January. We're ranked within the top 10 of all our subjects for, sorry, you will see on the right hand side that there's work still to be completed there. So this is what it looks like currently. As I say, it's going to be completed by the end of the year. So if you're coming in January, it should be ready by then. It's ranked within the top 10 of all our subjects for graduate outcomes, Southeast. Now I'm going to come into that in a second, a little bit more, excluding London. Second for tourism, transport, travel and heritage studies. Third for law, fourth for accounting and finance, fifth for business management, and eighth for marketing. So you can see that actually we're not, so what graduate outcomes are is actually where you go afterwards. So we're very much focused, we're a very technical minded university, and we're very much focused on where you're going afterwards in university. We want you to have a fantastic time whilst you're studying here, but we want you to be successful afterwards. So we have a lot of international connections, we have a lot of employment connections to get you into work afterwards. For those of you who may wish to stay and study and work in the UK afterwards, this is a possible option for you. And so that sort of information would be useful. Even still, even if you went back to your home country, we've got a lot of networks to help you continue and improve upon your CVs and other things like that. Our vision, particularly for the business school, is to be renowned for making a real difference to people, practice and society. The business school is recognised as one of the UK's top 5 universities for the impact of its research into business management, influencing policy and making a difference to society. It also affects how it affects business. So the business school in particular, you're getting some really strong research impact, academics being able to teach you. So this is how the strength of the business school. I'm going to zoom on to the next one. And these are the different courses that we do within the business world for the January intake. Notice I've included a few of the ones that are in September in case any of you are looking, are already pre-applicants and coming in September time. The finance and risk management and economics and finance are for September. But for those of you looking to come in January, marketing, social marketing, international marketing, digital marketing, it's one of our strengths. And entwined in this are also other areas of study, which are external qualifications that you can take alongside, which I'm going to come to in a second. But I want to quickly jump over to this graduate employment rate over the right-hand side and mention that. Now, you notice it says 2016, which is some time ago, and the way graduate employment rates are measured has changed. So previously it used to be within 6 months of study, you could monitor an employment rate. They've changed it now, so it's actually within a year and a half, demonstrating more of a career focus. And actually we have still improved in that sort of area, where in fact actually, I'm going to zoom back to that, where we're still in the top 50 in the country for graduate outcomes. So we're really focused on not just getting people into study, but also giving them the skills necessary to find them work and giving them the next step afterwards. Another thing for the business school is we're proud to be a member of the Association of Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business. It looks quite impressive when you can say you've gone to a business school with that accreditation. I'm going to mention this quickly. Now, bear in mind that January ones don't have an integrated placement, but if you were to look for that and you were looking at 2022, or you already have a place for 2021, there is a possibility of doing a year placement. Even if you do not take that placement option, there are lots of skills and abilities that you'll pick up during your 1 year of study. And I'll explain those in a second. If you were looking to do a placement, then they're all work paid placements. The reason why I mentioned about whether you not take a placement or not, even if you don't, every course contains work-related experience, such as long and short placements, live project briefs, or assessed voluntary work. Our courses are designed to develop your transferable skills in things like self-management, communication, and enterprise and research. And the reason why it works well as a package is because you get access to a range of different support networks, which I'm going to come to in a second. We also have extra accreditation. So for example, if you were to do a particular course in marketing, it's possible that you might be able to take extra accreditation modules for a Chartered Institute of Marketing qualification, for example. And these demonstrate the range of different accreditations we have in the university. Now, of course, I'm saying this to you as a member of the staff, but actually, here's a perfect example of one of the many success stories at the university. For those of you who would like to know a bit more about this particular student, she was able to get a placement at Rolls-Royce, who gave them a job, and that was again to do with the careers team that will be there as part of your support network. It's with every single student at Brighton, you just purely have to just ask the question and ask for support, or you can even find your own kind of placements and have support with your CV writing and other things like that. And there's lots of student success at Brighton. We have a very strong alumni network, which is very important internationally as well. My favorite here is the creative director of Lego, which might be sounding the best job in the world. Strong part of the ethos behind Brighton is that we don't want you just to succeed, we want you to feel good as well at Brighton. We're fully aware that over the last 2 years, it might have been a very difficult time for many people in different parts of the world. And I think the great way to describe Brighton is that it's a community within a community. So Brighton itself as a place is a very, very supportive place. But Brighton University, University of Brighton, has a very supportive network. One of the things I liked when I joined Brighton was the fact that actually it had a very strong health and well-being stance to it, with all these different support packages for students. And the reason why this is also important for your academic studies is we don't want you just to feel well, but actually students who feel happy in their environment, that they're being looked after, always just do better in their studies anyway. So, international welfare and pastoral care. This is what I'm already alluding to. We have, so even before you get to Brighton, a dedicated international student support team, which is visa and immigration, to help you with your questions about that. Social events. There's an entire package of orientation for brand new students, so they feel part and integrated into the society, into our society as quickly as possible. That's a really important thing, because we want you to take advantage of all the inductions that you'll get when you come to Brighton, to actually have the opportunity to meet your academic staff. You have the opportunity to also meet your support staff. So if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see SSGT, which stands for Student Support and Guidance Tutor. So if you imagine that you have an academic personal tutor, who's the one beneath, they will be there to be your main contact, as on your academic side, but can also signpost you to the student support and guidance tutor if you have extra requirements. For example, that we also offer academic support studies. So in other words, you could write up to a 5,000 word piece. I'll say that again in English. You could write a 5,000 words essay and have it looked over by the academic team that are there to support your skills and writing style, to give you those extra abilities. But that's, again, another support service that's available to you, but it's up to you to be able to do that. For those of you that need it, we also have a dedicated disability and dyslexia team. And then that's simple things like student advice teams. And I've even put here international student ambassadors, because it's very possible. We do have a very strong international community. We have over I'll say that again in English as well. We have over 3,000 international students staying with us. So you might find it easy just to assess one of them. And I mentioned before also about the health and well-being. For those of you who are worried about your ability to do English well enough before you get to Brighton, we of course have academic standards, which basically means we expect the IELTS equivalent of 6.5 with 5.5 in some skills. We will accept certain qualifications in lieu of those. Bear in mind there's always a time limit on those particular areas. So if it's a case that you do need to take an extra element of English or anything like that, certainly for some courses it would be required. For example, particular ones like pharmacy, for example, or something like that, medical based courses, that could be a real thing. We also have a dedicated English language development centre. For those of you who are looking at doing an undergraduate, we have a partnership with Kaplan, who is our University of Brighton International College, and they also do foundations for those of you who haven't actually been able to get the qualifications needed to come to university to do an undergraduate university qualification. Then once you're here, actually, so you've got your academic side, you know that you're going to have support with your academic side. You know that you've looked at the different courses with your counsellor at SIUK. What you've done now is kind of worked out what you're going to do. And then after that, you want to know that you're going to be able to find somewhere to live. We guarantee you a place if you book a place in time. They're great locations. And even if you choose to have a place off-site and not within one of our halls, we can also provide advice on that. It might be the fact that you've got a relative or something like that in the UK that you would be wanting to live with. But again, all impartial advice can be given. Halls of residence. We have over 1,800 halls of rooms across Brighton. and they vary different prices and change each year. Please note these are 2020 prices. For next year, haven't quite been set yet. Also, please bear in mind that actually the Morscombe campus has an extra 800 rooms going to be put in, so that might be something that you might be looking at. Top of the academic side. Now, I always say that the academic side, kind of really knowing the content of the courses is really important. But I mentioned about the well-being and everyone's experience being slightly different. What you might like is the fact that Brighton does offer lots of extra curricular things. In fact, Brighton has over 100 different student societies and many different sports clubs. So I'm just going to mention this quickly because it might be your thing. It may not be your thing, but it could be down to you as a person because everyone's experience is different. These are some of the societies we have. And it might be the fact that actually this isn't the right society for you, but then you might be able to find the one that is. I quite like the fact there's Mature Student Society, and my own favourite would have been the Creative Writing Society. But if your society isn't there, you can always approach Students' Union and say, could we create a particular society? Because there's a requirement for it. Sports Brighton. This is the area which clubs are run by students for students. And Brighton Panthers signed a 4-year contract with Nike in 2020. So actually, you'll see that some of the uniforms there have that Nike branding on them. And Brighton itself, once you're there, you'll discover there's lots of things that you can be doing. There's lots of festivals that take place. Brighton, for those of you who are football fans, Brighton's doing quite well at the moment. So that's actually the stadium that is affiliated with the University of Brighton as well. The North Lanes are something that, for those of you who don't know Brighton, are something you might want to Google afterwards. They're actually a real strong point for people visiting Brighton because it is a very popular place for people all around the world to go and visit. Up the top middle, you'll see the Brighton Pavilion, which is a piece of architecture put in by Prince George. Do apologise, I've just moved him up one. So, what other things are coming forward? And in other words, what do you need to do now? Well, I'm going to do this question and answers very shortly, but other things that we're launching in August time. There are actually international events. So I've given you a small flavour of Brighton, but it's a very quick flavour. And actually, you might want a more dedicated one to your personalised subject. There are international events, residential life events, and student finance events. So these are all coming. So do be mindful of what's happening on our own Brighton website. But also, as I mentioned before, do keep in contact with your SI UK counsellor and find out other things that are taking place. Main point to go away with is that it's a significant investment in you. It's supporting studies and success and then strong employability prospects. So I'm going to quickly just go over those points one more time. The university really is investing in you. As mentioned before about its £300 million work, which is just behind me, investing in its students to give you the highest quality type of facilities available to you. In the same way that every single academic will be a specialist in their subject. They could be, for example, if you're doing something like creative arts, they could be also a designer at the same time as being a lecturer. Supporting studies and success. I think this is the area which Brighton really excels at. Not only has it been able to kind of prove that it's really very strong in its well-being, and that's part of its ethos. We recognize the importance of students to feel comfortable in what they're doing whilst they study. And even better, I mentioned before, we're in the top 50 in the UK for graduate outcomes. We have strong employability prospects. at Brighton, and that's what we're looking for. So it's an entire package of, okay, the investment is with you to have the first degree, your first step, and moving on to your next step. And that's what we're doing. We're part of that package that you'll feel very much at home whilst at Brighton. Lots, and perfect example of this is there is a study to show that people that often come to Brighton stay in Brighton for a very long time afterwards. In fact, in the UK, it used to be a joke that if you went to Brighton to study, you'd probably end up living down there. And there was a strong correlation. In fact, actually, it's the case with one of my fellow members of staff. So that is a whistle-stop tour of Brighton itself. And at this point, I'm probably going to open up to SI UK to begin some of the questions. But I'm very happy to go back on anything that anybody wants to.
All right, thank you very much, Simon, for the very detailed presentation. That was quite insightful and helpful. We have a couple of questions on YouTube. Before I move to take those questions, I'd like to quickly say, if you have any questions, kindly drop on the chat box so that we can have this question answered. Simon can answer on any questions you might have about studying in Brighton, any other thing about Brighton. He will be very happy to answer all those questions. So quickly, I'll move to the few questions we have on YouTube. The first question is, can I apply for marketing, international marketing MSc, although I'm still in my final year of my undergraduate degree in arts?
That's a very good question. Thank you for that. You can apply. So you're welcome to do so in various different ways. So SI UK can be your kind of guide with this. It's possible to even to be able to see the course on the different on our Brighton website. So if you are looking at that, and if you are doing a very different course, something like creative arts, you'd need to show that you've got the skills to be able to take on the next course. But that would seem we have lots of art students that do decide that they want to have those business skills afterwards. The very fact that you're in your undergraduate year is not a problem, because if it's your final year, then you're already looking to the next year afterwards. So that shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. So next question is, do you provide internships or part-time job assistance during the course?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, we do at undergraduate level and even at postgraduate level. It depends on where you're coming in cycle. So I mentioned very briefly that the element of January, it's a little bit more tricky to get placements, but if you're coming for a September entrance, it's a little bit easier. So it's possible to even get an entire year work placement if you want that, but also just part-time study. Yes, the Students' Union will help you. Will help you with that, and also lots of other different groups will kind of point you towards certain things. There's often like a job board and other things like that. So it is very possible. Do bear in mind that your visa requirement will mean that you're only allowed to work up to a maximum of 20 hours a week, and that's actually a good thing, because anything more than that, you then start paying less and less focus on your studies, which of course should be the main focus of your time with us at Brighton.
All right, thank you very much. The next question is, IELTS requirements, is it for all applicants or those whose previous degree were not taught in English?
That's a perfect example, yeah. So the UKVI regs and the Brighton regs, even more so, that it's our interpretation of it, means that, if you say, for example, you studied in the UK already, then we would accept that as your English requirement. And there could be some other elements that we would consider other things relative. At this point, I might stop sharing my screen if you prefer that.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. Can I move to the next question?
Yes, please do. Sorry.
Okay. So next question is, when is the deadline for accommodation? Is accommodation secured for international students?
That's an excellent question. as an international, you'll always get a kind of pushed up position, if you like, on the accommodation side of things. This year, with COVID being very different, we're being a little bit more understanding that people may be looking to stay a little bit longer in their home country, or they might find it difficult to get across. So those things have been put in place. The deadline for September has passed, so we can no longer guarantee accommodation because lots of people have already had it allocated to them. If you're coming for next year, though, the deadline would be around the 30th of June. And if you're coming in January, you just need to get in contact with the accommodation team. So with all these things, Google is your friend, if you like, and you can Google accommodation at brighton.ac.uk, or just email them directly and ask them what the requirements are.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. Next question is there any criteria to get a 2,500 scholarship?
Oh, sorry, can you just repeat that one more time?
Okay, is there any criteria to get the £2,500 scholarship?
Oh, that's a very good question. So we have been doing scholarships since our way through. I didn't include them in this particular presentation, but yes, we do an international scholarship. There's no guarantee with it, so the criteria is a really important thing. It does change a little bit each year, so it would technically be a new wave of things coming through. And what we'd normally look for is how would Brighton University degree help you, and also things like that. The criteria is actually on the scholarship page, but it might change a little bit each year. To give you a background, that we've had unprecedented number of people applying for the scholarship, so it's done on a panel focus, so there is no guarantee. What we often do is offer a 2,500 scholarship, but also offer a £1,000 scholarship as well. So it's no guarantee that you're going to get the 2,500 one. We have had some Nigerian applicants get it this year, which is very pleasing, with very, very strong reasons why they should be able to get that scholarship. But it has been very competitive. So yes, there is criteria, and there is absolutely no guarantee of being able to get it, but it also demonstrates the skills and your tenacity if you do apply for that. So we do recognize that.
Thank you very much, Simon. Next question is, what's the entry requirement for social marketing MSc?
I'd probably have to check it out myself. It would purely come down to what you'd studied beforehand, but like all these things, they're available on the website. So if you'll allow me, I might stop sharing my screen. I'm seeing a lot of faces now, so I'm getting a lot of ones to chat. So I'll just put in the link to the postgraduate courses on the site. And also to the Nigeria page. So that's in the chat function. For anybody else who's watching on YouTube and can't see that link, if you Google Brighton postgraduate courses, then you should be able to get to the right pages, and then it will show you the different types of ones that we have available to you.
Okay,
there's
thank
also
you very
one.
much.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Sorry, thank you. And there's also a Nigeria page as well. So for those of you calling from Nigeria, so 1 second, just welcome to students from Nigeria, and I'm going to put that into. I think I had a question coming through then, but I couldn't quite hear it, I'm afraid.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, I heard some background noise. I wondered if someone was trying to ask a question. But...
Yes.
Simon, I have.
Okay, Deepika.
Okay.
Hi, Deepika.
Hi, Bimbo. Actually,
Okay.
I was saying that I've posted these links on YouTube chat box. so student
Brilliant.
will be able to see it properly.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Okay.
Deepika.
Please continue, Bimbo, with the Q&A session.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So next question is, who are the top UK employers for MBA program?
Oh, now that's a piece of information I wouldn't have off the top of my head, I'm afraid. I can tell you that we work with a huge number of different employers, including Microsoft, IBM, and Rolls-Royce I mentioned in the one, but which is the top one, I couldn't tell you. There's a huge number of employers that we work with. That would be very, very tricky for me to answer. Let me think. When I've met the previous groups before, I'm just trying to recall what they said they were. I think for business, yeah, it's KPMG, Nestle, Airbus, Barclays, which is one of the banks in the UK, IBM, American Express. Yeah, I'd be very, very hard pushed to say which is the very top one, though. But there's a lot of well-known names out there, so it's very much internationally focused. And of course, it could. There might Brighton itself is also a very creative hub, so there might be some sort of localized areas of employment there. And of course, London being so close means we have links with employment that way as well. Very good question. I'm sorry, I can't fully answer it.
All right, no problem. Thank you, Simon. So next question is, can I apply for a master's in digital marketing if I graduated with a third class in English?
That would probably be a little bit challenging because we normally require a 2.222, but we do take other things into consideration though. So for example, if you have recently graduated, that probably would be against you, but if you've in the meantime developed your own company or something like that, then that could be slightly different, or you have 5 years worth of experience. So it's always worth putting an application with SIUK, speaking to one of the counsellors and seeing if there's a way forward. We can always review that later. On the whole, we would ask for a minimum of 2.2, depending on which course it was.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. So the next question is the visa a work and study visa? If so, what's the duration of visa?
Oh, yes. So, so just to clarify on these 2 different points. So, as a student, you'd come over for on your first visa, and it's possible for you to work part time whilst you do that, and that you can work up to 20 hours a week, as I mentioned before. But yeah, the post-study work visa is available to you, and this is sometimes where a placement within a company can sometimes help, actually, because if you do have that ability to do a year's placement, and you can do it postgraduate in some of the courses, if you look on our website, actually it means that it could be that particular placement will actually allow you to continue afterwards. So in other words, they just switch and they become the owner of your visa, and you're able to study, able to work, I apologize, in the UK for 2 years afterwards. So that's a real positive.
All right, thanks a lot. Next question is, do you offer courses in space science, and how much is the fee?
I do apologize, I didn't quite catch all of that. Can you repeat it? Was it space science?
Yes, please. Space science. Do you offer courses in space science, and how much is the fee?
Right. So I presume this is aerospace or something like that. Would that be correct?
I think so.
If it's aerospace, then we do that at undergraduate. So I'll show you the link. But it's aerospace technology as opposed to space science as such. So sorry, just for everybody here, I'm putting the link in the chat box, and Deepika will be very kind and put it in the YouTube drop box as well. So yeah, we do a number of engineering courses. and the closest I would say to that would be aeronautical engineering. It's not so much space science, but you might find one that has a very close area to it. Strange enough, we did actually have some students who worked with the French Space Agency, so that they won a project as part of their research. So it's possible that that could be the kind of area which this student has discovered. So there are links with everything that we do. So that was 2 mechanical and 2 aeronautical students that had that opportunity. So again, it demonstrates that we really do have very strong industrial links as well as contacts within creative arts and all sorts of areas around like that. For everybody else, oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Just so everyone's aware, I've now put the undergraduate link in the chat box. There are a lot of courses, so there's a huge range of different courses. One other thing you might be interested in is that from Nigeria, actually, we've had the greatest rise in undergraduate and postgraduate applications and people wanting to come to us this year for many, many years. So it's an exciting time to join, I think.
All right. Thank you very much, Simon.
Thank you.
The next question is, are you still accepting students for September intake?
We are. It might depend on which course. Some courses have already shut because they filled. But yep, we're in what's called clearing at the moment for undergraduate courses, and there are still some spaces available. So we will accept some students. My suggestion would be that you would want to get your application in fairly fast because it does take a little bit longer to kind of assess. And then, of course, with all things, you'd need to pay your deposit by the end of August. And sorry for that, I didn't mention that in my original talk. So for those of you with spaces, do bear in mind that as part of your CAS and part of your visa process, a deposit is required to gain entry to university. You can put that in earlier, but you also must complete your CAS profile if you have an application already with us.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. Next question is, do you offer courses in curriculum with options in mathematics education and comparative education? And then the second part of the question is, what's the program fee for the master program? And how much is the tuition deposit before issuance of CAS?
Okay, well, happily, I've just answered the tuition fee deposit. It's the 1,500. There were lots of other questions, so could you give me the first part again, if that's okay?
Okay, do you offer courses in curriculum with option in mathematics education and comparative education?
Would that be an undergraduate course?
I think this person is talking about postgraduate course.
Postgraduate courses. Okay, the other link I'm going to send people, if there's no postgraduate course that's suited to them, they might also be looking at doing a master's in research or something like that. So I'm going to also put that in. So I haven't forgotten that. Doctoral college. Oh, there we go. But off the top of my head, I don't recall us having one in that, but I'm quite willing to have a look. The area, if it's mathematics and education, it could be a possible postgraduate certificate of education with maths. So that is possible. So again, if this the person who asked the question wants to have a quick look at the postgraduate courses, they'll see we, for example, do a master's in education. So that might be the kind of area where we would accept international students. The question which I recall I was asked last time was whether we did any medical-based ones and other things like that. At the moment, we do not accept international students for nursing courses. That may change in the future, but please do bear that in mind. And some courses are just available for UK and EU students at the moment. Things do change, but that's sometimes curricular and partnership work that goes on.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. So we're currently getting to the end of the questions. I got the next question, which is, can I apply for human resource management course for my master's with a 2.2 CGPA out of 3?
So I'm presuming that's a question about coming from a Nigerian Nigerian university to a UK one. It's, let me have a look. What we'd normally require is this, which I'm going to, for an undergraduate. Okay, so I'm going to quickly put in the requirements that we expect from, this is a rough ballpark of what we expect curriculum-wise. It does vary, sometimes it goes higher. So I've put in a huge amount of chat there, I do apologise, but this is what we would normally be expecting. And for those of you who I can't see that immediately, undergraduates who have completed a senior secondary school certificate or West African senior school certificate would need to successfully complete an international foundation year equivalent. Students with a Nigerian national diploma, ordinary national diploma, or diploma with GPA of 2.5 or merit lower credit or above may be considered for undergraduate entry into year 1. Applicants with an advanced diploma or higher national diploma may be considered for undergraduate entry into year 2. So that's the area where sometimes it's a bit more uncertainty. Postgraduate, so if this student is to be a postgraduate, we require applicants to hold a bachelor's degree with a classification of second class lower or above from recognised university. So it's also to do with a recognised university list as well. So my suggestion there would definitely be to speak to your SA UK counsellor, just double check with them whether it's part of our accredited list, and then they can liaise with us as well, and we can double check that. So with all of you, I would always recommend, if you're not sure, do a little bit of beginning research, but then come back to your counsellor and then talk about putting in an application.
All right, thank you very much, Simon. And the final question is, please tell us the average salary we can expect after completing international events management, MSc.
Oh, that's the cruelest question, but so well done for giving me that one. I'd be very, very wrong to say this is going to be your salary. Because things changed with COVID and everything else, there's no guarantee of anything. What I mentioned before is about how successful as a unit we've been, and that's why I'm in the top 50. It comes down to a person and what their experience was already. It depends on what their connections will be straight afterwards. And it also, for example, if they got a work placement, how good they are to be able to kind of nip up to the next job. Immediately straight afterwards, it's a little bit unknown. So if you want to ask that question, I'd suggest that I mentioned about some of our online activities, and speak to one of the careers team, and they can advise you further about possible amounts of money. But it would be very wrong to actually say this is going to be your guaranteed salary.
All right, thank you very much, Simon. So with this, we've come to the end of the Q&A session. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you actually had a great time. And thank you, Simon, for answering all the questions. I will now hand over to Simon for a last few words that you probably have for students, a final word for students.
Lovely. Well, first of all, thank you all very, very much for your time today. It's been really appreciated by me, and it's been fantastic to be able to answer so many questions. It's impossible to answer everyone's questions immediately all the time, but I hope certainly what you'll be able to gather from this is that it's a very strong opportunity that you'll be able to get with Brighton. I mentioned with before, we're a very welcoming place, and we're here to support you and gain your next step to employment afterwards, if that's what you're looking for. If it's a specialized area, then we're also there for that as well. So thank you very, very much indeed. And thank you for this opportunity today. Stay safe.